It's the Mike Missanelli podcast on the BetRivers Network.
Mike Unleashed, where I go all over the map with my opinions on various things in and out of sports. Let's start by going back to the FIBA World Cup. A casualty in the FIBA World Cup. A Serbian player, they're a pretty good squad. A Serbian player, his name is Borisa Simanic. He lost a kidney when he got elbowed during a game. They take his kidney out. Damn. Well, how many times have you heard people say, I give my kidney to play for a U.S. national team? I don't mean to be flip about it, but how about that,
really
man?
Did.
I mean, the guy that elbowed him should pay part of the freight of that.
Yeah, that's
like Tony Soprano showing up with cash. Like, here, take care of your
That's
thing.
almost a freakish injury as breaking your orbital bone twice in 2 years in a row.
All right, let's go back to college football now for part 2 of Mike Unleashed. Congratulations to Rutgers. I know there's a lot of Rutgers people out in the Delaware Valley for winning the Big Ten JV game. Northwestern versus Rutgers. That's the JV section of the Big Ten. And here's what I say, okay? Any game that does not include Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan, and maybe Wisconsin should be charging less for the product. Now, I know Rutgers thinks they're a big-time school. Here's why I'm picking on Rutgers. For some reason, their head coach bugs me. I don't know what it is about Greg Schiano. His face bugs me because he's got this bravado about himself. And I go, dude, you coach fucking Rutgers, all right? It's not like hold it down a bit. You might think you're like the king of college football here, walking around on earth coaching Rutgers. Well, you have no chance to beat the big team. So, in fact, let me go a step further. I'll get on the record that I hate 3 college football coaches with a passion. Schiano being 3, but I hate him less than I hate 1 and 2. You know who number 1 is. I would have loved to cover Alabama to get into shouting matches with this guy every week. That's what I miss about being a reporter, covering a team and going back and forth with a coach who's a pain in the ass. And Nick Saban is the biggest pain in the ass in the history of college football, the way he talks down to people, those lackeys that cover the University of Alabama. And number 2, and I am so glad he got an ass whooping by Florida State, Brian Kelly. You talk about a guy who walks around thinking he invented the game, and he goes to LSU and he gets hammered, and I'm glad to see it. Your thoughts, Darren?
The best line I've ever heard to describe a coach was about Brian Kelly. I forget. I would love to give credit for this line. He said, Brian Kelly looks like the type of guy that would get pissed off and furious, red-faced at you for asking him to pass the salt. He's always pissed at everything.
They're so annoying, these faces.
He's the
Coaches,
worst.
right?
I know.
He is the worst.
I know.
All right, let's move on. This has nothing to do with sports, but I just noticed it. I didn't realize this. I'm reading a story about Naomi Watts and how she's describing her sex life with none other than Billy Crudup. Billy Crudup, Almost Famous. He was the star of the morning show. I don't know if you've seen the morning show. It's a good show. And he is with Naomi Watts now. It's one of my all-time faves. But I thought she was always with Liev Schreiber, Ray Donovan, who's the voice of Hard Knocks. Were you aware that Naomi had moved on to Billy Crudup?
Yeah, well, I didn't know she was with Billy Crudup. I knew that she and Liev. Liev's an old buddy of mine. I used to, hang around with him. We used to do my reads. We would go out and have a drink in New York. He's
Hold a second.
Yeah.
You used to hang around with Liev Schreiber?
Yeah, well, see, I used to produce Hard Knocks for HBO when it was on HBO. And when we would write scripts, we would go up to New York and record with him. And when you're a producer, when you record voiceovers, you're basically in the booth with the person doing the voiceover. So the video is playing, and this is 9 times out of 10. Not everybody does this with voiceovers, but you're in there with him, and you basically give him a tap on the shoulder when you want him to start a line. And if you wind it back, I need to do it quicker, I need to do it slower, but you're there with him. So we would hang out with them, and every once in a while grab a drink or dinner. I thought you knew this.
Hold a second. You drinking with Liev Schreiber? How come we don't have him on the podcast?
Well, I guess I can reach. I could.
Well, have you embellished this friendship with Liev Schreiber? You can't reach out and get him on the podcast?
Me and him went out like hanging out, best friends. But
well, you said he's a good friend of mine. You said
I didn't say he was I said he's an old buddy of mine. We would kind of talk and work together.
You said he's an old buddy of yours. What's that mean?
Have drinks. Yeah,
he's an old buddy of yours.
I haven't
Get him on the
talked to him
show.
in years. I mean, he's a big shot now. You got to remember, he was a kid.
Of course, he's a big shot. But you can't say he's an old buddy of yours.
When he first started with doing the show with us, he would ride his bicycle to this recording studio. And then,
yeah. That's all. Hold it.
Years, you'd be taking a limo.
That's all well and good. I don't care about that part of it. I care about you saying you're an old buddy of his, and we got Ugats on the podcast with him.
I'll work on it. All right. He got big time, man. He left a bunch of us behind.
By the way, for the record, Billy Crudup has been a crud in past relationships. He was with Mary Louise Parker at one point, and left her when she was 7 months pregnant.
Ouch.
With Tom Brady, and he left her for Claire Danes. And apparently, he left Claire for Naomi. So there you go. All right. Fourth item on the Mike Unleashed docket today. If I was ever offered a chance to come back as somebody, I want to come back as a world-ranked tennis player. Because in watching the U.S. Open, I have seen some of the most beautiful women with these tennis players. And I always wonder, what is it about tennis players and golfers that get the beautiful women? Do you have any opinion on this? Tennis players, I can see. They're swashbucklers. They're athletes. They sweat a lot. They put a lot of energy into it. They're athletic. Golfers, why?
I don't know. I like young golfers, man. They're all jacked. I mean, they're
not jacked.
Some of them are, dude. They're all in good shape.
They might be more physically fit than back in the day. I wouldn't call them jacked.
A lot of them are bigger than tennis players. I mean, you're talking about tennis players like they're,
muscles are no good in golf.
I think golfers make a lot of money. Tennis players make a lot of money.
Anyway, I'll give you a little tip off. There's an American left in the tournament. His name's Taylor Fritz.
I know nothing about tennis, by the way, before you go any further. Nothing.
All right, well, I'm telling you.
All right, go ahead.
Taylor Fritz is playing Djokovic. Okay. He's the highest-ranked American left, right? Wait till you see this blondie that sits in his seats. So if he's going to get blown out by Djokovic, so pay less attention to the tennis and more attention to the camera on his box.
What's the guy's name? Taylor what?
Taylor Fritz.
All right, I'll check him out.
All right, check that out. All right, that'll do it for Mike Unleashed for today. Let's move on to my thought of the day. I had a thought today, as a matter of fact, as I was doing my laundry. Let me ask you this question. If your washing machine has a quick wash button, why would you go with the full wash? Here's the question. Do we really need a full wash when a quick wash still takes it over a half hour?
I think the quick wash is more like if you only have like a couple things you need done real fast.
Why? What's the difference? Why would you need 55 minutes of wash when 31 minutes can do the job?
Because 55 minutes of wash is for a full load. It takes longer to get all the clothes in there.
Same thing. I put full loads in there for 31 minutes too. Comes out the same.
Well, then you figured out the mystery of life.
I think it's a scam. And it's a scam that has convinced Americans that the longer you wash the clothes, some cycles are about an hour. All you're doing is running your water bill up.
So it's a scam by Big Water? Is that what you're saying?
It's a scam by Big Water. They learned from Big Pharma.
Big Tobacco, Big Pharma, Big
Water. I'm going
to
ask people a question. And you can email me, mike@mikemiss.com. Quick wash. I go, I got it. 30 minutes is fine. I get my clothes in and out in the dryer, but why do I need 55?
You got Big Oil. You got Big Tobacco. You got Big Pharma. You got Big Water.
You got Big Water. All right, that was my thought of the day. We'll close it out on a somber note because I just learned this.
Yeah, this is
really
terrible.
Tragic. I feel bad for him because he's a good guy. I've known you, Douglas, for a really long time, and condolences to you and his family for the loss of his son. Was a really good student at Morehouse. Tragically killed in a car accident with another friend, student at Morehouse College in Atlanta, and that's got to be really gut-wrenching for a parent. And so you, Douglas, who's now a radio personality in Philadelphia, my condolences to you and his family.
Known Hugh for a really long time. I just want to say the same thing. known you through NFL Films and WIP. The nicest guy. Everybody was a friend to him, is a friend to him. And I don't wish that upon anyone what he's going through, and my heart is broken for him.
It's just a horrible, horrible thing. All right, so that ends the Mike Missanelli podcast for today. We've got another one coming up later in the week as we preview the Eagles game and the football season, and hopefully talk to Peter King then. So join us then. Thanks, everybody, for listening. A reminder that you can reach me, email mike@mikemiss.com. You can check me out on Twitter, MikeMiss25 on Twitter. And what else? What else do we have to? Listen. I got a kids book out there. I'm gonna be doing an event in Collingswood next month, the Collingswood Book Festival. It's called The Adventures of Shima the Sheba. If you're in the mood for a nice children's book for kids that just learn how to read, or you want to read it to your children who don't read yet, give it a shot. I'm proud of it. I think you'll really like it. Also, Cameo, don't forget, I can do a personal shout out to you. Did one this week, a roast of a guy. Guy asked me to do a roast about the guy's golf game, how he always says he's a better golfer than what he is. So I blasted him for about 2.5 minutes. That's the kind of things I do. Go to cameo.com and stick my name in there, and I can give you a personalized shout out for any occasion, really. Congratulations, or a roast, or whatever you're thinking. And don't forget that Natali Winery in the fall, I will be out there soon as the harvest is coming in. So early October, the harvest, will be out there snipping grapes and putting them in the bin for the wine production that'll happen in October and November. It's going to be fun. That's my first time cutting down grapes.
If you can drink wine during that, I will join you. You don't have to pay me. Just pay me in wine while I snip the grapes.
Oh, well, I can pay you in wine. I'll bring you out there, but you got to focus. You can't be cutting the vine. You got to just cut the stem.
Okay, you got it.
All right. Make sure you cut the right part of the grape.
Teach me the right way. You teach me. There you go.
Thanks for listening to the Mike Missanelli podcast on the BetRivers Network.